Welcome back to another Bali COVID-19 update, and I'm Bruce. This is my no-name channel. It's actually Bruce Pullman's channel, well, as usual, lots and lots of stuff today, some good and some bad, and so we'll get started with the numbers, which aren't that good. Okay, so what are the numbers? Well, they were a little better yesterday, but they've been averaging up in the 200s for the last week, and so you see the spike in the chart here. And yesterday, 153 new cases, 41,771 positives total, 38,863 recoveries, 1,207 deaths, and 1,701 active cases. So active cases continue to rise. And the 125 locals and 28 domestic travelers for the numbers yesterday. And by Regency, Denpasar 45, Badung 34, Gianyar 20, Tabanan 13, Bali 13, Buleleng 12, Jembrana 9, Klungkung 4, and Karangasem 1. And so those are the numbers. We're still getting them. So not the greatest news. And now on to vaccines and vaccinations, because like I said last week, this is the game right now. You have to get everybody vaccinated. That's the plan, 70%, right? And so first story, Bali officials begin distributing vaccines door to door. Okay, this happened this past week. Denpasar city government decided to distribute COVID-19 vaccinations door to door in order to accelerate the program in their area. And the spokesman of the Denpasar COVID-19 handling task force, Dewa Gade Rai, said officials will distribute the vaccine this way in 3 different areas in the south of Denpasar. And so, of course, this has already happened. And the door-to-door program is aimed at reaching especially senior citizens who are not able to get out to vaccination places. And Gade Rai said only 44% of senior citizens have received the COVID-19 vaccine, so we need to be more active to reach our target. And in addition to the elderly, the program is also targeting teachers and merchants in those areas. Pakade Rai added that he hopes that teachers and merchants will come to the vaccination points and register. There's a target of 1,200 a day while running this program. And the plan is to finish vaccinating public servants and the elderly by June. Okay, and so June is getting close to a month and a half away. Okay. Next story. Well, the deputy governor says that Bali has received more than 1 million doses of the vaccine, and the government in Bali, provincial government, is grateful for the central government's making sure that vaccine is getting over here, and that Bali is being given a priority. President Jokowi has said that vaccinations in the green zones in Bali are being given a priority so that they can open by mid-2021, right? So June, July, or August. But there may be a wrench here, so wrench in the works. And so what is this wrench in the works? Well, Minister says Bali will be 2 months behind in vaccinations. Okay. Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investments, Luhut, said on Thursday, that's a couple days ago, that there's going to be a delay of up to 2 months in the implementation of vaccinations in Bali. This is due to a blockade from several producing countries, which has affected the process of importing vaccines into Bali and into Indonesia, and then into Bali. He said that the vaccinations are important to the economy, and Pak Luhut has asked the Ministry of Health to speed up the vaccination process in order to create herd immunity as soon as possible. Okay, and so we know that, and we've heard that. He also stressed that it's necessary to tighten the implementation of health protocols, especially as it's related to tourists, so that they feel safe here. And he added that the travel bubble, he was talking about the travel bubble, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and the 70% target for vaccinations. So we've heard this before, but we haven't heard the 2-month delay. And so how is that going to affect us here? Well, I'm going to talk about the green zone in just a second. But what about the rest of the island? And so if there's going to be a 2-month delay, we're not going to have the target 2 to 3 million vaccinated by June. So I don't know. Of course, things change day to day, so we'll see what happens. And more on the late vaccine. Distribution of COVID-19 vaccine in Bali is late. Governor Koster said that the economic condition in Bali is worsening, and the government's efforts to prioritize Bali are still not optimal. He noted that the mass vaccination is finished, and now we're at 40,000 a day. The target is 40,000 a day. The process has been hampered, however, by the delay in vaccines, and he mentioned the country specifically. He said this is due to the distribution of vaccines from India. And India, if you've been following, you know they're in bad shape. They don't have enough vaccines for themselves, so don't think they're going to be importing the vaccines to us right now. And the National Minister of Health said that there's no certainty about when 100 million doses of AstraZeneca will arrive because of the embargo, which is in a state of crisis. And he said that the original plan, 50 million will be sent this year, but at this point, only 20 million can be sent. So it looks like they're putting Bali right. Bali has got the priority right now. The rest of Indonesia is going to get it when they can get it. And so you've got vaccinations going on, I think, in the hot spots, like over in Java, and then Bali, so that Bali can get opened up. And the Eid season starts this week, and he said vaccinations in cities. Now this is interesting. He said vaccinations in cities for homecoming destinations will be prioritized, but there's been a ban on Mudik. So why are they prioritizing cities that people were going to be going back to, because they're not supposed to be able to go back to them? So we'll throw in Mudik right in this point, and you can see the attached distribution. This is really long, the Mudik regulations. I'm not going to go over them. This isn't going to affect, almost probably 99% of you would not be affected by this. It's no travel though from the 6th to the 17th of May. And so you can take a look at the regulations in the description below. Okay. And I think the Bali officials feeling the need for a little love and help from the center, despite what the vice governor said about thank you. Well, Governor Koster also said thank you, but he reminded the central government not to forget about Bali because of the economic crisis here, the serious situation we're in, and the huge contribution that Bali has made every year to the foreign exchange. And he noted that 29% of total foreign exchange for Indonesia's tourism sector comes from Bali, our little island of 4.3 million people. And he said that Bali's economic growth is always above national average during the non-COVID era. And he'd like the central government to make policies specific to Bali, such as offering soft loans with low interest rates good until 2023, when he expects things will be back to normal. And he said that we have lots of unemployed people, businesses closing, layoffs, firings. The island is still in bad shape. And interestingly enough, I saw on social media today, there was this argument going on about when Bali opens and things, and a number of people saying, well, there's no problem. Bali it's only Kuta. It's not only Kuta. You see this everywhere. And yeah, I've said it many times, that Buleleng continues to, or Singaraja continues to go on downtown. But if you go over to the tourist areas, it's a completely different story. And so I think the governor's words to the central government, good idea. Give some help out here. Okay, and another vaccine case. Buleleng receives 3,000 additional vials of vaccines, and Buleleng received an additional 3,000 vials of vaccines, which will be injected into 30,000 people. The Buleleng COVID-19 Handling Task Force is giving priority to Indonesian migrant workers who receive summons from their companies to go back to work. Because the secretary of the COVID-19 Handling Task Force said that they go back to work, these migrant workers, and they get money and they send it back home, and then it gets distributed and circulated through the local economy. So they are key, he said, to revitalizing the economy up in Buleleng, one of the keys. And after they're vaccinated, the next priority, community interaction centers such as markets, tourism workers, restaurants, and supermarkets. So we're still going here, and remember, Buleleng is a red zone. And the secretary said that it's been decided at a COVID-19 handling coordination meeting to use up all the vaccines for first injection, not to save them up for the second. And so they're going to use everything to get as many people vaccinated the first time as possible. And Buleleng is beginning to quarantine confirmed cases in hotels in the area, not at home or in hospitals anymore. They're not in hospitals anymore if there's a positive case, because they want to keep the stress off the hospitals, and not at home because they want to stop the transmission of COVID-19 to other family members. So people are going to be, are being put up in hotels around the area. And another vaccine story, right? There's lots of vaccines because this is important, right? 4,000 Kuta residents to get COVID-19 vaccinations at the Beachwalk, and that's ongoing right now. A total of 4,000 people are being vaccinated at the Beachwalk shopping center in Kuta. The program, which started Thursday, ends tomorrow, is to vaccinate 800 people a day. It's a 5-day program, 5 times 8, 4,000, 5 times 800. And this is the start off to make Kuta a green zone, according to the Deputy Regent of Bandung. He said, quote, "We are starting to continue making green zone policies in the area of Kuta Subdistrict, namely Tuban, Kuta, Legian, and Seminyak." It's another area that wants to be a green zone. He added that they're making positive progress in creating the green zone in the area, and people are very enthusiastic and even willing to wait to get their vaccination. So here's another area that wants to become a green zone, and here's another story about more vaccinations in green zones. And this one in Tabanan Regency, and so they've picked 3 areas in Tabanan to become green zones, and Candi Kuning and Tanala and Jati Lui are the 3. They're considered to be the mainstay of tourism in Tabanan, and these areas have been approved by the provincial government as being a part of the tourist destination for the COVID-19 free corridor. And in order to support the green zones, the government is targeting simultaneous vaccinations of the residents living in the green zones, and these vaccinations are going to take place between Galungan and Kuningan. Around 13,000 people are targeted, and people in these areas of Tabanan have priority because they're in what's considered a prime tourist location. And so more green zones. So everybody wants to get in on the green zones because everybody wants tourists when they start to come in. Okay, and Bali opening. Let's get to the Bali opening. And first one, Bali not planning travel bubble with Australia anytime soon. Sorry, Aussies. I know a lot of you are going to be disappointed. Bali officials have announced that Australia will not be among the countries prioritized to join the travel bubble with arrangement with Bali. The deputy governor said that the international travel corridor will be established in June or July, but, and I quote, when the central government finally reopens our borders, we may not see any Australians to visit Bali anytime soon. And he explained that this is because the Aussie government doesn't plan to allow their citizens to travel outside the country anytime soon. And, well, that makes sense if you're in a place where there's 0, and then you're in a place where there's a couple of hundred a day. You want your citizens going over there and then coming back and possibly catching it and starting it all over again. So, I mean, that makes sense. The central government, our central government, is focusing on arranging travel bubbles with other countries such as China, Singapore, the Netherlands, and UAE. So these are the 4 right now that are being focused on. He added that the government is still trying to make bubble arrangements with other countries in addition to the 4, but Indonesia will not reopen the border until the majority of the population is vaccinated. And right now, Jembrana is currently being targeted because of domestic tourists coming in through Gilimanuk and then traveling down that really dangerous road down along the west coast. And so Jembrana is a target right now for vaccinations. So travel bubbles, no. Aussies, sorry Aussies. But I know Aussies are coming here. Some have come here. You get permission, I guess, to leave, and then you're just staying here, right? Okay, more on the opening. Bali expects at least 1.5 million tourists when border reopens. The Bali Tourism Association has predicted that Bali should receive at least 1.5 million international tourists when it reopens. The head of the Bali Tourism Board said that the preparation stages of reopening the international corridor, which includes distributing the COVID-19 vaccine, is almost finished. Yeah, that part is not almost finished. The vaccination process in 3 appointed green zone areas is almost done. So we hope herd immunity will be achieved in the near future. Okay, and so somewhere here in a story coming up, it's mentioned that 100% almost 100% has been reached in the 3 green zone areas, Ubud, Nusa Dua, and Sanur. And so that part is ready, but the rest of the island, no. And if there's a 2-month delay, well, that's going to be a problem. So what about remember last week, GeNose. What about GeNose? GeNose test for COVID-19 is here in Bali. It started yesterday with a 40,000 rupiah fee. The GM of the company that manages the airport said, we are trying to make it easier to obtain relatively inexpensive medical test services with GeNose services. And the test services are available at the airport from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day in the departure terminal. Initially, 600 bags per day will be provided, and prospective passengers who plan on doing the test should arrive 4 hours early. Okay, so 4 hours early. Now, Singapore Airlines restarting Bali flights in May. Even though there's been no official announcement that airport at Nusa Rai is reopening for international flights, Singapore Airlines is apparently has up on its site direct flights to Bali beginning in May on a twice-weekly basis. Now, before you get too excited and go, oh, Bali's going to open in May? No. The flights are restricted to those eligible to enter Indonesia, such as Indonesian nationals, foreigners with kitas, business visas, diplomatic, etc. The usual run-of-the-mill people. And a negative pre-departure COVID-19 PCR test valid within 72 hours will be required, along with a second test and 5 days of quarantine on arrival. And that segues nicely into the next story, which is, in addition to vaccination proof, foreign tourists must quarantine for 5 days. And this is from the head of the Bali Provincial Tourism Office, Ibu Tuastawa. So when is Bali going to open? I don't know. June, July, August, and you saw the vaccine problem in maybe another 2 months because of the delay in receiving vaccines. So anyway, when we open up for tourists, and this is tourists, it's not the people coming in on the B211s, on the business visas, which are coming in again. Tourists will be allowed in, but there will be strict conditions, and the conditions are showing proof of vaccination. So, you want to come to Bali, you got to get vaccinated. You don't get vaccinated, you're not coming to Bali. Following health protocols when you're here, and quarantine for 5 days at a CHSE hotel. The CHSE are the hotels, and if you saw my the travel videos I've been doing, the Bali road trip videos, when I was in Padang Bai the first day on this video, that hotel had their certificate, their CHSE certificate. So you're going to need to quarantine for 5 days at an approved hotel and pay for it yourself. It's not going to be like the old days. And these rules, restrictions will apply both to foreign tourists and to domestic to Indonesian citizens who are coming in on international flights, coming in from abroad. And so during this quarantine, this 5-day quarantine in the hotel, you'll be able to wander around the hotel area, because this is not going to be like a hospital quarantine. Pakistawa said it's different. However, foreigners who test positive will be isolated in a hospital. And the Pakistawa also said This model will not be like the pre-pandemic days. Even though tourists spend quite a lot of money, he said, the program's rules must be implemented for the sake of mutual interest and security. And that leads into the next one and the final opening of Bali story. Tourism Minister, our old friend Santiago Uno, said that this past week that even though Bali is going to open in mid-2021, health and security protocols must be followed even by people in the green zone, and that he has noticed people in the green zone now not wearing a mask, not following health protocols because they think they don't have to when they're in the green zone. And so he said it's going to be important for the government to intensify socialization and education to all people in Bali, especially those in the green zone, and strict monitoring is going to be necessary because some people are not playing by the rules. And he said the most important thing is that there will be sanctions for those who continue to violate health protocols, and for foreign tourists, we don't hesitate to deport them. Okay, so tough talk. Are they going to actually do it? When it comes down to it, I don't know. Haven't heard about anybody being deported so far for mask wearing. Maybe everybody's wearing a mask these days. No, they're not. Let's talk about school openings. Okay, dear to my heart. School openings in Klungkung. Schools will be opened for face-to-face education, according to the head of Klungkung Education Office, Paksujana, after the vaccination process for teachers is complete. Out of a total of 1,808 teachers, about 70% have been vaccinated. And in May, some teachers will be given the second round of vaccinations. And the results of a parent survey show that 90.42% of parents will allow their children to come back to school for face-to-face learning, 7.16 no, and 2.42 are undecided at this point. So the plan is to have all the teachers vaccinated, and by May, June is the vacation period throughout Indonesia, and July is the start of the new year, and so Klungkung plans on being opened in July. Now, what about other areas? Karangasem. Okay, face-to-face learning begins April 26th in Karangasem. The Karangasem Youth and Sports Education Office has scheduled face-to-face learning to start April 26th. Before then, though, all teachers need to be vaccinated. So 5,306 teachers at KG, SD, and SMP have been vaccinated. 312 schools are verified, ready to go. And one of the conditions is that teachers should be vaccinated. And even though they have been vaccinated, they're supposed to carry out health protocols in the school, and that's going to be wearing masks, distancing, and hand washing. If a confirmed case is found in schools, they will be closed for 3 days, and during that time the school manager will have to coordinate with health services in regards to checking on the health protocols in the school. The Bupati of Karangasem said that they need to make sure that all teachers are vaccinated. He does not want the schools to open and then have to close again. He said he's issued the face-to-face learning permit because other regions have done it as well. Okay, I don't know, but if you watch the video that I'm going to put up in a little while, the last of my road trip video, we passed some school kids on the way back when we were down in the Tabanan area. And so that's it. Weather's been on and off. We had cyclones here the other day. Boy, my house got hammered. I had water flooding, and I've got a concrete roof. Water was coming in through cracks in the concrete. It's time to fix the roof. It's been, I don't know, 12 years, 13 years. And yesterday was an earthquake. Wasn't, I don't know how big it was. My desk, which is a heavy teak desk, moved some. But yeah, it's kind of on and off there. The rainy season's going to end, but it's still hanging in there. Still hanging in there. Okay, so if you are coming to Bali, please follow the health and safety protocols when you get here. We're trying to get the schools open, trying to get tourists back, trying to get businesses going. It doesn't help if you come in here and think you can behave any way you want to. Get with the program. And so, be healthy, be safe, be kind to someone today. Thanks for viewing, and see you next time.